Hello. Um, I'm going to present a paper which I had written when I was doing my master's degree in public policy with Liberty University, the Helm School of Government. This was written in 2019 as the thesis for the completion of my master's degree, Master of Arts in Public Policy in Liberty University. So I had written it because at that time moment, the PJP government had completed one term, 2014 to 2019, and 2019 there was election held, and then the BJP government came with thumping majority. And at that moment, I am writing this paper as part of my course, in which it is made clear how within the first term itself, this government had gone through or had been functioning in a way uh, the democracy was under threat. So that is what I predicted, did my study, did my research, literature review, and written all the points. Then from 2019 to 2024, the next 5 years is beyond imagination. So it was whatever was predicted, that all had been happening because we didn't have a proper opposition, and we didn't, our people were blind in voting for such a government. Now, 2024 election is held, and fortunately, democracy is not uh, dead in India. So we see the election results in which this government party, the BJP government, has been brought even below the 50% requirement to form the government. Now they are depending on two other state level parties to support them so that they may have majority to form the government. They are in this process. So I'm going to present this paper for you to quickly go through and see what was the prediction made and what has happened now, and how we need to be careful in the future. So this is my appeal to Indian citizens all over, and anywhere living, to think about our government seriously and elect proper people. Now the election is over, and things are going to be formed. Let us see, because in a very um, um, fluid stage now, whether they will form the government, whether it will last if they form the government, and what would happen uh, if it doesn't last, whether the opposition party will form or India will go for another election. All these threats are there in between. Sometimes people, the ruling government or the people who are in power, try to do such chaos and confusions in different places wherever they lost the seats. And then a by-election or a re-election is called for, and then they will try to come back. But there has to be a lot of wisdom in in uh, in ruling, or in forming the government and maintaining the government. So for which the leaders should not have any um, personal ambitions, although personal ambitions is to do the needful things in your own constituency or state. But beyond that, the nation as a whole has to be preserved so that India remains as a democratic country. So let us go through this. I may give some more frequent, episodes or video clips in which we can follow later. But now let me share the paper that I submitted as a thesis to Liberty University. So you see here, um, Liberty University, Helms School of Government. The title of the thesis was, "Is there a need for restoration of justice in democratic India?" It was submitted to the professors in this School of Government for as a partial fulfillment of the requirements for the completion of my master's arts degree in public policy. Uh, this is in December 4, 2019, I had submitted. So I do not want to read the abstract because it is the explanation of all that is coming in the paper. So the contents of this paper goes like this. I'm trying to explain in the beginning the democracy of India, which is known, so I may not go in detail. The sovereignty, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, and how our founding fathers of India had written the constituency and constituency for a democracy. Then I started to analyze because is there a justice prevailing in India at that moment between 2014 and 2019? And we see, well, let me go through the paper straight away. So explanation of sovereignty, socialistic, and secular and democratic country and a republic country, how it is. So then the progress of Indian democracy right from 1951 after the first general election, how it had grown till BJP got elected in 2014 and again in 2019. So although initially Prime Minister Narendra Modi had projected himself as a successful man in the state of Gujarat, but when he came as a prime minister in the center in Delhi Parliament, then the whole issue started. How yeah, a quasi-military brotherhood founded in 1925 called the RSS uh, had been backing for his election, but it is with a mission called um, Hinduism. Hindu, yeah, yes, and they wanted Hindustan and Hindu. Everyone born in India or citizens of India has to practice Hinduism and Hinduness, and this religious thrust that he gave was, I mean, the setback he had during this election 2024. So there is something in this organization right from the, uh, as the uh, heart throb or heart vein or something what is inside this organization is a hatred towards Muslims. It was then, but then in 2014 onwards, we started seeing hatred towards Christianity, which is growing. The more, according to the Bible, the more the persecution is, the churches will grow. That they do not understand that. So the more they persecute Christianity in India, Christianity is growing leaps and bounds. I may do it in a separate video clip about all of that, and but let us now concentrate on this topic. So social justice, economic justice, political justice, that is constitutional practice or justice, and how democracy is affected by a nationalist agenda. Although B.R. Ambedkar, who was the author of the Constitution, along with those founding fathers, still they wanted to change the Constitution. One of the aims that they had in this election 2024 was to get two-third majority to change some of the Constitution. And during the time which I had covered in this paper, how the Citizen Act they wanted to bring, and by which they even started to say, if you are not a Hindu and if you confess and profess and practice Christianity or Muslim, you have to get out of the country. What a thing it is. I mean, a person, in America, even if a child is born for an immigrant couple who may not have citizenship or even green card, if the child is born here, it's given the right of American citizen. And whereas if, I mean, just because of the religion, which is supposed to be, uh, I mean, everyone's right, according to a democratic country, they were not they were not practicing it. So the citizens of the country are seething with rage over a callous, unresponsive government and judiciary. They are no longer fooled by promises of action and statements such as law will take its course or setting up of toothless judicial commissions. Toothless judicial commissions mean I will cover later how the civil institutions were under the control of the ruling government. And that really brought, awareness for the people because anybody resisting them or raising a voice, um, even if I mention something, I mean, a little more rigorously, I need to be careful what kickback that I'll be getting out of this. So social justice by written, and then we have distributive justice. That is, to each one should um, um, have their own right. I mean, there should not be any partiality. And civil justice, as I told you, all the, I mean, civil government and civil institutions are established in different parts of India to meet the lowermost level, uh, to give what are all they are lacking. They need to be provided with um, basic necessities and justice. No one should, the might should not all the time, deprive the weaker ones and then take the law in their own hand. So that justice, which was very much seen, I've also enclosed a paper of how the atrocities happened in 1992 against Muslims in India. Then food justice, each one, in some of the developed countries, the minimum food, I mean, food is available freely for every citizen. But here, there are thousands who are still starving, and women are still suppressed in India. And environmental, no one is bothered. We have no proper systems to really handle the environment. Now, influence of missionaries, that is British to India, established not only the development of infrastructures, but they also had established schools and hospitals. And people, even the rulers' children themselves go and study over there. And lately, during this period, a lot of NGOs were shut down. NGOs means non-governmental organizations, charity organizations. If they're on the basis of Christianity or in the basis of any like terrorism, they find some loopholes and to find out that if there is a Muslim party or Muslim organization attached with a Muslim organization in Pakistan or any other Arab countries, and if a Christian institution attached to with any other developed countries from where the help, social help had been coming, all those NGOs were shut down during these first 5 years, and now um, um, that increased quite a lot during the last 5 years. So justice. When you say, Bible is the best reference book, or holy book written with God's words, and justice is defined as giving all persons their due. So everyone who is eligible for justice should get justice. So, I mean, this part I'm skipping, even definition of government and social justice written in the Bible towards justice society, and God's strategies written in the Bible for land with justice. Now, while addressing the major issues in the government, um, it is first point itself is what the main focus of this paper, one man Raj or rule. Although Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, had been promising good times and jobs and prosperity and in international um, input into the country, one side he was successful in bringing a lot of investments from other nations into the country to invest. But along with that, this rule, you know, for with which they govern the country with a lot of suppressing the lot of suppression uh, on the people, even the opposite party people could not raise their head and voice any issue. It was more like going towards a sort of a dictatorship. So healthcare issues are not addressed, land reforms are not done, administration, as I said, it was, I'll read that in the next one. Social issues, economic issues, all kept pending, law and order, no talk about it at all. Justice and judiciary system failed, and that is how it had been in the past, now 10 years. Now, the need for restoration of justice and recommended policy proposals. I'm going to quickly go through the points only. When I say downsizing government, it is not, this the power to rule the whole country with all the institutions like the law institution of law, like Supreme Court and other courts, and election commission even. But now, fortunately, during this election, election commission had some freedom, I believe, that they knew that people's voting should be properly um, brought out to show. We even had doubt in the last election whether machines were, um, hacked and done anything. But we are not. I mean, the government itself or the people itself or the other opponent parties themselves have not established anything. So I don't have any comment on that. Let this be noted. But the power should not be, to so accumulated in one place that corruption increases, and then central control in licensing. That is not a good thing. So they give license. This is a very well known factor. Last 5 years, if one new company has come in, Adani, I myself, I thought, oh, there were Ambani's. So is there any new son born with a first few letters of his name is Ad? And so the Ani has come in, Adani. I mean, no address was known just 5 years ago. Today, the whole, India, wherever you go, it is Adani. I don't know where from it came. Now, welfare of the poor, basic necessities, healthcare, trade barriers. When we say in this, that the tariffs were increased, and then on so many articles, these actions reverse a trend of lowering trade barriers dating back to India's economic reform in 1991. What was brought in this paper, actually, they reversed some of the old uh, government's development program. So a lot of privatization, which I already said about the new Adani company coming up, in spite of the Ambanis who were, I mean, have been superseding all the other uh, companies like, Tata or Bajaj, people who have been known for welfare of the employees. And then the living standards have not grown. Foreign policy is okay. Civil society and institutions. This is where I want to read the whole. Institutions and organizations possess distinct and God-given responsibilities. Social institutions and organizations that make up civil society are inherent, God-intended features of human society. Social institutions receive from God the right, the authority to play a distinctive role in the area of sphere in which they have responsibilities. We have already seen that Modi is progressing towards closing down, prohibiting the role of non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, multinational corporations, and other civil society institutions. The tide is against bringing good healthcare system and disaster relief. The International Committee of Red Cross Code launched just after the Rwanda genocide 94. More than 300 signatories has been usefully invoked in humanitarian crises in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Gujarat, India, and other areas. faith-based organization existed long before internal development was even conceived, and they have recently come to the attention of development agencies and theorists as key participants in the development process. This has led to a growing recognition of the need for more systematic analysis of the role of religion in the process of development. Corporate social responsibility and international development presents Hopkins' views. That is my reference points. And so now, okay, now behave in developing countries and identify the factors, including active civil society and government, that drive these companies to engage in development. Modi has to restore back the functioning of the closed institution. Okay, this is talking about closed institution. But what we faced in the last 5 years is civil institutions like even the income tax authorities, the police authorities, law and order uh, authorities, election commission, and the judiciary system, all were controlled in such a way that nobody could raise a voice or could express anything because people were living under fear. Religious persecution had increased beyond imagination. And what are the figures that I have given here? That when the Nationalist Party came into power, anti-Christian attack were happening every 40 hours. It was if it is increased from what is the percentage here? Say 1130 Christians to Hinduism. That is reversal. Garb opposite program. It increased by 20% in 2016. Physical violence against Christians was up by almost as much as 40%. So these have been happening. It is very remarkable to note in the state of Uttar Pradesh, in the last few years, so many Christians were attacked. Recently, I saw one video clip. A new church building constructed and was about to be dedicated. And this whole vandalism took place. The group came, instigated by this, the sect. They demolished. They broke the glasses on it. And when they were hitting on the statue of Mother Mary and Jesus, oh, my heart was breaking. This is the way of how, but all these people will realize. Jesus has taught us, forgive those who persecute you, bless them, those who curse you, bless them who persecute you or who come against you. So we follow the Jesus principle. So we tolerate, believing in God's hand, acting very strongly against all such happenings or activities of this group. So this continuation of that is the autocratic actions which ought to be really insisted. It says 790 Muslims were killed in 2002, 344 Christians in 2008, 934 more between 2013 and 2017, and this number has increased. And I've given some statistics of all these numbers. These are to be known. See, God is ultimately in control, and if He watches, it is not man rules the nation. That is what I wanted to declare. Man does not rule the nation. Man is given wisdom, intellect, reasoning ability to rule any country. God rules the nations. So God, when a man trying to reach the place of God and say, I am born of God, or people start thinking that, it was in a state level in 2011, sometime 10 years ago, that somebody called one of the rulers, chief ministers, as, oh, our God. The moment a man is elevated by others or by himself or herself to the level of God, God who is sovereign and He is above everything, and He establishes a king on the throne one day, and He can bring down the king in another day. So He rules the nations. He is sovereign. So that was forgotten by this
And we were praying, and when I realized the certain statements made by this government and by Mr. Modi, it uh, it it really broke my heart. And I thought that this time would come like this, and how long this is going to be, um, you know, kept under control, so that our democracy may get restored back properly. So it is my prayer, and um, more and more um, expecting that God will restore democracy in India, and it will remain as a democratic country forever in Jesus.